Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at this 2022 Toyota GR86 Premium. Massive shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing the sports car for me today. They have a massive selection of pretty much brand new inventory. That link is down below. But the 86 that you see behind me is finished off in true no blue. They have a starting MSRP right around $27,000. And what powers this fun little sports car is a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder boxer engine. This model is paired to the 6-speed automatic transmission. This pumps out 228 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. That power sent to the rear wheels. This weighs in right around 2,800 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in around 6 seconds with a top speed of 140 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 13.2 gallons, so you'll expect to see around 20 miles per gallon in the city, 27 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 101.4 inches. Its overall length is 168. It has a width of 69.9 and a height of 51.6 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this GR86, let's start off with the massive grille front and center. It has a lot of cutouts in that mesh to provide a lot of cooling to that engine with the GR badge over on that driver's side. Now this also has functional air inlets just underneath the headlight housings. They will go just in front of the tires, and then there's another functional trim piece which I'll show just behind the tire. So it has some functions to the front bumper, which is nice to see. Now this has LED DRLs with the headlights and turn signals in the upper section. Really nice housing, and I like the bulges in the rest of the hood design. Matches the bulges with the headlights, so you can see those lines on both sides, which just gives it a beefy appearance for this smaller size sports car. Hopefully you can see that line over there that goes from the headlight housing there. And there's some very nice lines just to give it more of that aggressive look, especially with the lower section of the bumper and the lines that come down to the top section of the grille there. So it gives it a cool look. Now as we work our way to the side, this has a set of 18-inch wheels with the dark finish to them and a multi-spoke pattern. Matches this blue very nicely. Now this has 2 piston calipers up front with single pistons in the rear. And then just behind this tire is that additional functional vent. So as I mentioned earlier in the bumper, the air can travel through there and it can exit out the back of the tire. So it's pretty cool to see that that is a functional trim piece. This isn't a high performance vehicle, but it's definitely very functional. There's also nice lines coming from that trim piece in the lower side skirt. They protrude slightly from the door, so they do stick out just a little bit, giving it a nice subtle touch. All of the window trim is blacked out. This has gloss black for the side mirrors. And just from this angle here, look at all of the lines, especially the one that goes to the top of that trim piece, the lines in the hood that I mentioned earlier, just underneath the side mirror there, and even the lines for that rear fender flare. It is a good looking sports car. There's a shark fin antenna up top, no sunroof. And then as we work our way to the rear, this particular model does have an aftermarket wing. I think it looks very nice. Now this has a backup camera with the LED taillights. It's cool to see too that the black trim goes just up underneath where there is a button to release the trunk. So it ties them in very nicely going through that trunk. There's really nice lines as well. Reverse light is down in the middle, and then the dual exhaust is on each side with some more plastic trim for that lower diffuser. So let's work our way to the cargo space where you can use the button on the key fob, or like I just mentioned, you can use this button right in the middle. Makes it very practical, especially for the sports car. Now, if you're buying a car like this, you're not looking for a lot of interior space, but you do get a good bit. I have my camera gear in here, and you can see it's a little bit tight even with one bag, but we have the GR mat, which is cool. And then you actually have a little bit of storage space up underneath the floor. So if I lift this up as best I can, you can see you could probably put a spare there if you really wanted to, but you could use this for additional storage. And then you can also fold down the back seat. It is one continuous piece, but obviously that gives you a lot more interior space if you have some larger items. And then this is a lightweight trunk, so that is very easy to close. And now as we work our way to the interior, you can use lock and unlock on the key, or of course you can just grab the door handle and it will lock or unlock depending on what you're doing, of course. Now for the premium trim level, you get leather and micro suede on the door panel. Very nice to see that combo. There's all the window adjustments along with the side mirror adjustments, one speaker, and a pretty small amount of room. You could place a small drink there if you needed to, and the grab handle is just behind that. And as we work our way to the back seats now, these are manual adjusting seats, so I have that forwards at the moment. All I need to do is pull on that tab and I can move the backrest forwards. And at 5'10", I can work my way into these very small seats. Now, if you're buying this car You're really not buying it for backseat passengers because there's really not all that much space. My head is up against the headliner. Truly, if I needed to be back here around town, 5-10 minutes, something like that, you have usable seats to use them in situations like that, but you're not buying this to put 4 people in here all of the time. But they are very nice. I like the micro suede running down them. They dip down a good bit just to give you a little bit more headroom. There's an armrest on both sides, and that's pretty much it. That's all you really get for your backseat passengers for those limited times that you actually have people back here. And then it's just as easy to work my way out. We can put that seat back, and then from there, I can manually adjust it so it is back in the right position. And these seats have a nice design to them with the leather and micro suede. I love the bolstering support too. This is a nice sport bucket seat for this sports car. Now this is a pretty low car. You actually step over and down a few inches over this door sill in order to enter. And with this steering wheel here, it's completely covered in solid black leather. The GR badge is in the lower section. Cruise control is also on this right side. This has paddle shifters too, with more of that dark gray trim. But let's fire up this 86 now. With my foot on the brake, that GR button is over on this right side, and we can bring this to life. And looking at this gauge cluster now, it has a really nice design to it. You'll notice the tach right in the middle along with miles per hour and what gear you're in. On the right side is engine temperature and fuel level. And then on the left side, you can go through some more information where currently it's showing the lane keeping assist. If I use these controls over on the right side, I can further go through that information. So just by using those arrows, I can go over, you can look at some of the standard safety technology features that are offered. So under the driver assistance, you can go through all of that. You can also look at some other settings that you can monitor, any messages you may have. There's also some averages too, so you can monitor all of that along with the TPMS. You have some battery voltage. You can also look at the G-force meter. You have your accelerator and your braking along with the power. So by giving this some gas, you can see that graph adjust, which is pretty cool. And there's also a lap timer and a stopwatch. You have your music, and then we are back to the cruise control. So it's nice to have that amount of information right in the middle. On this left side, there's tuning and volume for the radio along with all the Bluetooth controls. So it's a pretty simple layout, but it gives you everything you need. And then over on this left side of the steering wheel, you can release the trunk. There's also a dimmer switch for the gauges. There's some plastic here, but that is to be expected, especially for this price point. There's one speaker up in the corner of the dash. And then right in the middle, there's 2 air vents above this touchscreen system where you can go through a good bit of information. So currently you can see radio and media along with phone. If I click on apps, you can go through some of this information. There's also Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You can look at maintenance, different settings. If I push on home, that is actually where we are right now. There's also shortcuts to phone when you have that paired, different apps that you just saw. And then over on the right side is radio and tuning, and there's power and volume for the radio. So not a whole lot of information, but it's a nice screen to be able to use it, hook up your phone, and have all of that information easily visible. Now underneath that is all the climate adjustments. There's temperature dials for your driver and passenger, fan speed right in the middle. And then underneath that, you can go through a lot more info, even use the heated mirrors. You have the AC, max AC, different modes that you can go into. So basically where you'd like the air to go. You'll see that diagram adjust, and then sync is over on that right side. So it's kind of neat to see those toggles down below. It'd be nice to see maybe some sport modes down below instead, but all the climate controls are laid out very nicely. And then for this automatic, we have the leather shift boot along with GR on the top section. It has a really nice feel to it. If we put this into reverse, you'll see the backup camera up here with the guidelines, so it gives you a lot of good graphics. Now drive is all the way down. If I pop it over, you can shift using the shifter or these paddle shifters, so you can get a little bit more sportiness out of your drive. Now this has a manual parking brake, and then also right in the middle, you'll see traction control. There's also traction control and track mode. And right in the middle, you have 2 different modes for sport and snow. You will see those adjust in the center gauge cluster. And if I click on track, just by holding that, you will see the entire tach change where we have more of a sporty appearance. So it's pretty cool to see that. This even has heated seats, so both of those adjustments are right in the middle. There's a cup holder just behind that. And then for the split armrest, if I open this up, you get 2 more cup holders and some auxiliaries. So you basically have 3 cup holders. This is more of a storage bin with the 2 cup holders, but essentially you have 3 cubbies that you can use if you need to. You can easily close that up. And then over on the passenger side with the glove box, there is plenty of room for all of that information. This is a pretty tight interior, but it definitely has a lot of space, especially for the size. And then up in the headliner, there's the dome lights, along with a few call buttons just in front of that. Now that we're behind the wheel for this GR86, I've actually had a good bit of seat time in this car. We went to the Tail of the Dragon and did a video with an 86. So if you want to see going on twisty turns, all 318 of those, check out that separate video, because this is a phenomenal sports car. It's not the most powerful, it's not the most expensive either, but you can have just as much fun driving this around. It was a blast because it's so lightweight, so nimble and agile. We ran through that Dragon in like 15 minutes because of how well it can corner. This is a lot more able to corner than it is for top speed and for accelerating. It'd be cool to see a turbo 4-cylinder for this, or obviously you could do that aftermarket. So let's just do a mild acceleration in a straight line. I don't have as many twisties as the Dragon for today, but this is about half throttle. You know, like I said, it's not the fastest, but honestly, with that aside, I'm actually thinking about buying one of these because it is so much fun, and the potential for modding this car is a lot. I would love to supercharge one, maybe turbo it, whichever one makes more sense, and do a lot of mods to this to get a little bit more potential out of it as far as straight line performance and a little bit more power, especially out of turns, because we do a lot of mountain driving, so that is where we like to spend a lot of our time, and this would be a phenomenal car to really see how much better it can be improved through simple mods. But aside from that, this is a downshift in there a little bit. But aside from that, this is a really nice car. You know, it can be under $30,000. Base price is right around 27, so you're looking at 30, maybe a little bit more than that. It's a nice interior. It's what you would expect for the price point too. And then there's some plastic here and there, so it's not the most upscale in a sense, but with the premium here, you get some nice leather and the micro suede. So, you know, you're not buying this for all the fancy bells and whistles. You're buying this as a practical-ish sports car that you can have a lot of fun with on back roads. And as far as driving this, I haven't had much seat time on it, just normal driving. It was basically on the Dragon and back. It seems pretty comfortable and quiet for more of an economical sports car in a sense. It doesn't feel like it's cheaply made and just assembled, you know, here and there. It feels like a pretty good, solid car. It feels very solid when you're booking it through the Dragon too. So I think this is a cool entry-level sports car. If you're looking for something that's affordable, you don't want something that obviously you can't afford, but you want some practicality. You know, the back seats are there if you need them. It's better for interior storage though. You have a nice combination with this new 86. Now, I haven't been in what this replaced, the FRS, in a long time, but from what I've heard, this is a lot more refined, a little bit more power, and overall just a better responding car than the outgoing model. So I think the 86 is definitely a good option. Let's give it one more acceleration here. Paddles are pretty responsive. We didn't get to quite these speeds on the Dragon, but I loved how well the paddles did respond and how much you can kind of wring out the gears so you're not having to shift as much. You could go through the Dragon, second, third gear, and have plenty of fun without having to shift a lot too. So that's cool to see. And from first gear, you know, it's not super slow that it's not fun, but it's also not crazy fast like I mentioned earlier. Kind of in the middle. It'll get up and move. If you're trying to merge, we have the lane keeping assist there. If you're trying to merge in traffic, you're gonna get up to speed, it can do it. I don't feel like it's quite as underpowered as maybe some people think it is. So you do have an adequate amount of power. I do wish it was a little bit more, however, but for what it is out of the gate, it's really not all that bad. And as far as turning radius goes with a quick UE, definitely a small car, so it's very maneuverable-ish. There we go. Very easy to see as well. And again, that's just a mild acceleration, and we're getting up. Brakes do a good job too. It doesn't weigh all that much either. So you would expect, you know, you don't need massive brakes either, which is another thing too. If you're looking for a sports car and you don't want something that, you know, might be unreliable or might be expensive to maintain, we're talking about a $30,000 car. Usually, depending on the brand, you know, Toyota is very reliable. This really shouldn't cost you that much to not only own, but also maintain, as far as oil changes, you know, tires, things like that. Very skinny tires, so they're not going to cost as much as some other brands that have, you know, pretty wide and grippy tires. So if you're looking for that fun factor, that reliable factor, that easy to maintain factor, the GR86 pretty much hits all of those points. It's a good all-around vehicle at that affordable price point that you can still rip on and have fun. You know, you add an exhaust to this, it's gonna liven it up a little bit. Obviously not add any power, but anytime you add an exhaust, it just makes the driving a little bit more enjoyable, I think, than hearing no exhaust. So if you're looking for something like that, definitely a good option. Now I will say I would go with the manual. I haven't been in the manual. My brother got to drive a manual GR86. So if you want to see that video, check out that review that he uploaded. I would definitely opt for the manual. If you're not a three pedal kind of person, this is a good option. But for the car, manual definitely gives you a lot more of a fun factor in my opinion, especially ripping it through the mountains. Let's give it one last mild acceleration for today's video from third. And that is going to wrap it up for the all-new GR86. Once again, huge shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this fun little sports car for me today. Check out their website, that link is down below. Also give the video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.